we're on episode 37 now. And in this season, I've been trying to do a lot of bringing back previous guests because we have an amazing world now. We have all these new upgrades, all these different things. So we got to bring back the old people so they can like see this shit. You know, I'm proud of it. So you have me and you have Squishy, and then we brought back Crackalakin.
Hi.
And so we have some stories. Okay, I will say one of them I found today on the way to work, listening to it, paused it because I was listening to another podcast. That story came up and I paused it and said I want to find it, and I found it. So we're gonna dabble in a new subreddit today because of this one fucking post that I was intrigued by. So if y'all are ready for that, you know, I don't have any sly intros, all right? Because brain no work. But where is it? Here it is. Okay. So it was 6 years ago. This is a very old post. But it comes from r/legal advice, which I don't think we've dabbled in before. So I'm very excited. And it is titled, Neighbor's Off-Leash Dog Attacks and Injures My Dog, Sister, and Myself. Now, neighbor is trying to sue me. She's trying to sue me. We are the ones with $29,000 in medical bills. This happened in North Carolina. What? You poofed from me.
Blown away by that.
North Carolina was too much for her.
I don't even think I've been on this subreddit myself either. And this already sounds heated.
Oh,
Right
dude.
off the bat.
r/legal advice, like, there's another subreddit I plan on touching in the future once I can find a good one, and that's r/tree law. I did not know such a thing existed, but people get really fucking petty over trees, and it can be like the biggest lawsuit of your life.
Really?
Over a tree. Like, if you uproot a tree that's not yours.
True.
It's
that
crazy
makes
work.
sense.
Alright, so let's see here. So they say, sorry for the long post, but I'm trying to be detailed. TLDR's at the bottom. We live in the city limits of North Carolina. I'm not going to give, like, the specific location they put in that. And there are strict leash laws. Our new neighbor moved in next door about 6 months ago, and they have 2 large Labradors who are let out the back door into open yards each day and night. One of their dogs is very sweet and well-behaved, while the other is rather aggressive and will charge at people and other dogs. We have asked them multiple times to walk their dogs on leashes and explained about the city leash laws in our state and our county, but they refuse to keep them on leashes. 2 months ago, one of the labs charged at myself and my small beagle from across the yard, and the dog's owner just sat there and watched as I tried to fight off her dog while picking up my beagle. The dog bit my arm enough to draw blood, and I kicked her dog to get it to stop and back off from its attack. The owner went into a rage over me kicking her dog the next day and filed a complaint against me with our HOA. That backfired because the HOA contacted me for my side of the story and ended up charging the neighbor with a $250 violation of the HOA agreement fee. I didn't file an animal control report because my bite wasn't that bad, and I thought the HOA fine would set them straight. Also for the fact that it's not the dog's fault, her owner's an idiot. They continue to let their dogs run free, and while we have multiple videos of them letting their dogs run free and the aggressive dog running onto our porch and throwing her body against our glass door, trying to get at our dogs inside our house. Last month, I confronted our neighbor with multiple videos and told her she needed to walk them on leashes and that we were no longer willing to be afraid to use our back porch or walk our dogs anymore. I told her this was the last time we'd be nicely asking her, and the next time we'd call animal control. Fast forward to 6 days ago, when I woke up to the sound of one of my dogs, for lack of better term, screaming. I jumped out of bed, ran into the yard where my sister and one of my beagles was being attacked by her dog. My sister had curled around our dog and was being repeatedly bitten by the neighbor's dog. I tackled the neighbor's dog, and I'm not proud to say, as a lifelong animal lover, proceeded to grab the dog by her neck and force her to the ground by the neck and shove her head into the ground while practically sitting on the dog to control her. The neighbor finally got her dog inside. The results were that my dog had a huge chunk ripped out of her throat, multiple rips in both ears, 6 broken teeth on her bottom jaw, a shattered front paw, a broken arm, and multiple bites to her face and ribcage. My dog needed all broken teeth removed, pins in her arms and paw, dozens of stitches, and a skin graft. I had no idea they can do this for dogs to close the hole in her neck. My sister needed 38 stitches from the bites she received. I ended up with 29 stitches from bites I received. All 3 of us are on a plethora of antibiotics and follow-up care, including rabies shots for my sister and I, because her dog had no current shots. Those shots are not pleasant in any way. Our combined medical and vet bills are $29,000 and still needing follow-up visits for all of us over the next few months. She is refusing to pay anything and all the claims that it's not her fault because our yard isn't fenced. She is also claiming that she is going to sue us because apparently I broke 2 of her dog's ribs when I tackled her to the ground. I cleared out my savings account of $3,500 to make the basic payments to save my dog's life, and I don't have any more money to hire a lawyer. We can hardly afford the copays on our insurance to get our rabies treatments and prescriptions filled. I filed to get an advance on my pay, but it can take up to 2 weeks to go through, and I was served with court summons today for injuries to her dog and her pain and suffering from the trauma of her hurt pet. The claim also states that I intentionally caused harm to her pet and used unnecessary force to subdue her pet. I am a 4'10" female. My sister is 4'8". Her dog is almost as big as I am. I really don't know where to start on how to deal with this. I feel like we have a solid case due to the videos and paperwork from the HOA from the first time she tried to blame us. I also have messages that span her time as our neighbor via the Nextdoor app, where she admits to walking her pets off leash and her refusal to stop because it's her house. How in the world can I fight this without being able to pay lawyer fee up front? That is the first part.
That's the first part? I hope there's
Jesus
a good update on this.
Christ.
Dude, the entitlement on that lady is crazy. Because
yeah.
it's like, it's not, like, sure, they don't have a fence, but you don't have a fence either. So, like, you can't even say that. Like, oh. I will admit, props to them for not completely losing their on the other person, because those comments about unnecessarily, like, restraining the dog when they have multiple stitches, that's a lot. Like, I've gotten hurt, and the most stitches I've gotten was like 5 or 6, and that was a deep gash. So 28 and 38, I don't even want to imagine, like, the ow.
Well, and it's like, I know this varies from state to state and person to person. They're lucky that their dog is still alive. Because I'll be completely honest, if this happened where, like, I grew up, if I took my dog out and was attacked by an off-leash dog, people have different laws, people have different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
That dog would not be moving anymore. Because if I scream, my dad's coming out. Like, keep your dog on a leash. That shit is so scary. In my old town that I lived in, I had an incident where my dog, it was in the apartment complex. She was like 6 months old. I did not have her leash in my hand, and she sniffed a guy's leg. Was she aggressive? No, not in the slightest. But regardless, I did not have her leash in my hand, and the end result was I got held at gunpoint. Keep your dogs on a leash. If you have a leash law, that leash is in your hand at all times. And for this dog to be so aggressive that it's bolting to the other house and slamming its body into the glass to try to get at these beagles, at what point do you as an owner, like, not get a fence, get a lead, get something, and you just let that happen? You're not trying to... I'm not hearing any recollection of, like, come here, let me get my dog, I'm so sorry. You're just letting this happen.
There's so many ways to prevent that. I mean, there's I've seen people do, like, sure, I know there's stories of, like, different ways of, like, this going wrong, but there is like the zip lining leash where they can run freely. But in the proximity they're allowed, there's like the invisible fences. There is an actual fence. And what you were saying is, I was going to make a comment of, they're really lucky their dog's alive, because in certain states or circumstances where it hasn't been proven that they had the rabies shots or something, there's been cases where they have to put the animal down to make sure that you are safe and going to be okay. Or they have to get rabies shots, the person themselves, in the stomach, and that's expensive, and at the very least, the owner should pay for that. Because it's like, it's not only super hazardous, but if you're, it's, I don't know, there's a lot that could be said on that topic.
Dude,
it's hard.
Cases with pets are hard because, like, I'm an animal lover. I also went to college for dog training, and so I know that, like, aggressive breeds, aggressive dogs, that's not the breed, that's not the dog. That all falls on the owner. If you have a dog that's exhibiting these behaviors, that is up to you to find a way to negate that. Because, like, so for me and my dog, she had really bad food aggression as a puppy, and I mean, like, to the point where I could not take her bowl from her, or she would try to bite me. And if my cat would walk past, she would lunge. She wouldn't, like, hurt my cat, but she would lunge. And that was a behavior that I recognized of, this could not only get me hurt, this could kill my cat. This, like, what if this happens when I have a little kid over? This is like, and so steps were made to fix it. And now I can grab her bowl. Now we have 4 cats in the house. They all leave each other alone, and I don't have a worry. If she has a special treat that's just for her, it goes out in the backyard away from all the animals so she can enjoy that in peace, and I don't have to supervise. Like, it's you have to take steps as an owner to hold accountability of, like, I recognize this. How do we fix this? Because I can't just let this continue happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, sure, there's dog breeds that can be prone to things, but it's really up to the owner on how they properly train them. And it clearly, she has, like, she doesn't care. If she cared, she would have done something by now, Oh
yeah. So I will say there is an update. Squishy, do you have anything you want to say, or do you want the update?
Let me cook. Hold on. Personally, as again, like, I've worked with dogs before on multiple occasions. You know this. And I've been in multiple playgroups with dogs, like, for hours on ends. I've seen dog fights. I know how to handle it. But I also see how, like, their owners interact with their pets when they come in and out, And it makes sense sometimes when you look at an owner and you see how, one, they talk to you or how they talk to their dog, and then how their dog kind of reacts to certain things. But it's also, like, sometimes the aggression is brought on by excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's brought on by, like, that feeling of, like, oh my god, hi, hello, like, all that kind of stuff. Like, my dog, for example, when I worked at a daycare and boarding place for dogs, I'm not proud of it. I worked with him on it. He now is on a slip lead that covers his muzzle. But he was at the point to where, if he saw it fit, he was going to start a dog fight. And he still kind of does it, and it's just because he gets excited. And that's my fault as an owner, because when he was younger, we didn't socialize him that much. So him socializing got him super excited, and he was like, oh my fucking god. And then other dogs were like, oh, this is aggression, you can't do that. And that would cause a fight. Does he run at dogs? Yes. Does he run at cats? Yes, we have 2. And when we first brought them home, he did not have a good interaction with one of them, and he chased them into a corner We fixed that. They're chill now. They cuddle on the bed. They're actually cuddling right now. And like it's how you work with it, but it's also how, one, if you got them as a puppy, yeah, sure, you can socialize them at a young age and you can do all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, as they grow, you got to keep reprimanding that stuff into their brain until they listen. So you do have like the very intelligent breeds that will still need that stimuli as they get older. And then you have non-intelligible breeds. I'm calling my own dog non-intelligent because he is stupid a little bit. Where he learns once, he's fine. And it's just, she doesn't fucking care. You don't got a fence, you don't got leads, you don't fucking reprimand your dog, you don't teach them shit. You're just letting them act like dogs, and at this point, they're going back to through genetics and just acting like wild animals.
Yup. Well, and there's also like the safety. I just remembered this. Aside from if you have leash laws don't fuck around. All right, that's a fine I never want in my life. But the reason leash laws are there is not only is it to protect other dogs, it is to protect your dog. So like the main reason I keep Nellie on a leash, it's not because I'm scared that she's gonna bite somebody. It's not because I'm scared. Like, she's a very friendly, dumb idiot. She just doesn't realize that she's like 6 foot on her hind legs and is bigger than me. The reason she has a leash is because of other dogs, so I have quick access to her, but it's also because she's a little dumb, okay? She'll see the road and the highway and go, ooh, that's something I could totally play in. And I have never felt fear more than seeing my dog run towards one of the busiest, dangerous highways near our house. And like, she got out of the backyard. Like, there was a hole in the fence, and she got out, and like, I showered, came out, and realized it's been really quiet in the yard. Normally she wants inside by now. Threw on my fiance's clothes, my Crocs, dripping wet hair, right? Run out in the backyard. I'm holding these shorts up, like I have them bunched up in my hand because they're his shorts. And I'm like looking for my dog, can't find her. I go barefoot. I say fuck the Crocs because I can't run in them. Find my dog 2 blocks down, and she's bolting to the highway. And again, she's a little dumb. I'm going, Nellie, bear, baby girl. And she's like, huh? Oh, hi. We're playing tag. I'm going that way. And I was like, oh God, you're not responding to your name the way I need you to. And like, obviously me running at you scared is making you give chase. And normally I would run the opposite direction and she would follow. I tried that. She said, no, that car looks way cooler. Now there's a bigger gap between us. And I was like, I'm gonna freak out. So my only option is I sat there, reached into my pocket like I had something. There's nothing. And went, treat, the way in which this fucking dog halted, full stopped, looked at me, and when I crouched on the ground acting like I had something in my hand, that was what was more enticing than traffic. And I have never grabbed her by the collar so fast in my life, on the verge of tears. Like,
oh man.
Oh my God, like, leashes protect not only other dogs, but they protect your dogs, because you need that quick access in case of any amount of injury or emergency.
Well, it's like, it doesn't matter how, like, when, like, your dog could have no history of, like, any issues, and then suddenly something could happen. You never know. Because, I mean, I don't remember that much of it because I was really young, but we had a beagle that actually got attacked by another dog. And I remember being mortified and terrified because my mom's screaming and freaking out because she was the one who was in the middle of them all. And I'm just holding the dog, hoping that, it doesn't get to her to get to me. And it's other instances like, sometimes the treats is the only thing that works if you don't have a leash, and it's scary to rely off that because sometimes that doesn't even work. Sometimes it's not enough. So, but the easiest thing you can do as an owner is prevent it. But
oh my God,
back in the case, they didn't do that at all.
This lady has like no regard to her dogs, but we do have an update. And so the first, there was an edit saying, thank you for the advice. We're feeling much more hopeful. You are all wonderful, kind internet strangers, and we appreciate you. Which I'll say for Reddit is very strange, because normally everybody on Reddit's like fucking witch torches at the ready. But I'm glad we all have a common ground for pets. So the update comes after filing a police report. My sister and I went to the police station this morning. The officer suggested we file our own reports for multiple reasons, with one being my sister wasn't involved in the first attack, and we technically own one dog even though we share expenses. One dog I got from a rescue, which is property in my name, and the attack dog was brought under my sister's name. The video evidence was used for both reports, but the messages were used for mine only, since she came from my account. I will say as a little tidbit, this is actually very, very true. When I was held at gunpoint for my dog, and also when I had to get my dog back from my ex after like a bad breakup, it had to go to civil claims, and she had to be marked as property, which if you're like some dog, like I personally don't like that. I was really upset because I was like, she's not an object, but for court, that's your property, and that's how it has to be done.
It gets tricky.
Unfortunately. So let's see where I lost my spot. Oh shit. Okay. The officer called animal control and viewed it as a good use of their weekend emergency service because the neighbor did not and could not provide proof of rabies shots, and it is viewed as a public health risk, and no one can confirm the dog's violence isn't attributed to that. This is probably not the case, but city law requires all dogs within limits to be registered with the city and be up to date on all shots. He suggested that we take our dogs in cars and leave the neighborhood between 2 and 6 p.m. or until we receive a follow-up call from animal control. He also suggested that we call homeowners insurance after we are done at the station and had a police report to give them. The police took photos of our injuries and said that we need to take pictures of our dogs once we get home. We already took pictures of ourselves and the dog last night after reading through comments on here, but they wanted their own to file with the report. We asked about getting protection or restraining orders, but he said it would be very hard to do because we'd have the burden of proof showing that she maliciously and intentionally let her dog out to harm us or prove a history of stalking us. My boyfriend went out this morning and brought 2 cameras and a stack of SD cards. He has one set up to look out over our backyard and one looking out to where we park our cars on the front porch. The lady is still letting her dog out free after the attack, and we have that on video. My sister, dogs, and I are going to spend the night at my boyfriend's house so we can just stay clear of the crazy neighbor. We called our insurance company. We're giving them all the reports, bills, evidence, etc. They're sending an agent to the house tomorrow to take video and pictures of both yards and give us a list of local law forms that specialize in personal injury, property damage cases, and will work in conjunction with whatever lawyer we go with. One thing the insurance company pointed out is they don't see any law firm named in my summons, and they think she may have filed and be representing herself. They also said the roommate texting us all week said they'd pay for everything. Saying that they pay for everything could be viewed as their admittance of fault, but a lawyer would be able to confirm that. We did message most of the neighbors on our row, and a few of them have had bad experiences that they are willing to write statements for. The kicker is that the family directly behind us has a teenage son who took a video on his phone of the big attack. The neighbor had tried to attack her son's cat while she was on the back porch once, and her son heard the yelling and whipped out his phone. I haven't seen it yet, but his mother said they will gladly turn it over to the lawyer and write statements. It's going to be a busy week. We have a lot to do to get everything together, but it seems like we do have a solid case. Thank you so much in advance. There is another update because I went sleuthing.
Oh, there's another update? What?
So,
I'm so happy that that person actually was vigilant and actually went out there to record.
dude, the fact that it was another kid that was like, hey, your dog tried to eat my cat.
Dude, clearly there's like, it's a common occurrence at this rate with this lady. Jeez Louise, she seems like a nightmare neighbor to have, regardless if it's just like the pet or whatever, because she has a tendency to not care at all. That seems terrible.
I will say, to save time, I have read the updated post while I was at work. I'm going to cut out most of the jargon that is in it because it is another very long post and just give you guys like the rundown of what has happened since going to police.
All right.
So, okay. They found somebody to contact. They actually offered to take payment after a judgment or settlement. They offered a lower percentage. So they found a really good lawyer who was like, I got you. Because the lawyer has a son that was attacked by an off-leash dog in the past. So lawyer's taking this personal and said, we got you. Don't fucking worry about it. We're gonna figure it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
She was served with 2 separate lawsuits, one from myself, including medical cost, estimated in long-term cost, rehab cost, lost work and vacation days, pain and suffering, and destruction of property, which will be explained shortly. And then one for the sister, which included the long-term medical cost, lost work and vacation, property damage for the dog, and pain and suffering. Her lawsuit has a court date of March 5th, and she was served with our lawsuit. She apparently desperately tried dropping the case against me, but the prosecutor denied her request. Didn't know they can do that. She then tried contacting our lawyer multiple times to ask him to get the prosecutor to drop the case. He informed her that that wasn't something he had control of and that we would still be moving forward with the 2 lawsuits against her. She finally got herself a lawyer, and our lawyer was contacted with settlement offers and that were in his term laughable, and we refused the settlement offers. Our lawyer used past cases of dog attacks in North Carolina where settlements of over $800,000 were paid out that were cases where dog owners actually like tried to stop the attack. Now for some extra facts. My wrist is going to need surgery that is scheduled to take February 27th. Our dog had the drain removed from her neck and the skin graft is healing nicely. She's still in a cast with pins in her paws. The vet thinks she'll have a limp, but will recover with no other long-lasting injuries. But now she refuses to go out the back door anymore, and she will cry and plant down if we try to. The destruction of property claim on my end comes from the cameras my boyfriend installed. A day after her dog, it gets a little sad.
Oh no. Oh,
Animal control did seize that dog. The dog was euthanized due to not having rabies vaccines updated and to the video of the attack.
See, this is what I was talking about. It's gonna happen, and it's really sad because nobody wants that to happen. Not the owner, not the person who was attacked either. That's so sad.
So a day after her dog was put down, she took a baseball bat to everything in our front yard and backyard. She broke our porch railing, smashed our flower pots, bent my hammock's metal base, and used some kind of utility knife to slice up the hammock, tore the plants out of the ground of our garden, including pulling an imported maple tree. That's where tree law comes in. Don't fuck with tree law, especially if they're imported. Dumped some sort of substance that had a jelly-like consistency into our koi pond, killing all of the fish. Broke various other things in our yard. She straight up went on a rampage that was all caught on camera. She also left 2 notes on our door. One threatened to pew-pew our dogs, or that she'd have someone beat us up. We called cops immediately. They took it seriously. They asked if we wanted to press charges. We said yes. Lawyers used the notes and camera footage to get an emergency protection order for us, so we haven't seen her since, though we do see her car come and go. The video of the attack that the neighbor's son took was a pure godsend. It shows how she just sat there, did nothing to try to stop the attack. It also shows her audibly laughing during it. She only started trying to help when I started smashing her dog into the ground. We also have statements from multiple neighbors, and our lawyer is working on getting the multiple complaints from other families from the HOA. He said it's pointless to go after the HOA and that we wouldn't get worthwhile results. Our lawyer did tell us that the HOA has started the eviction process against the neighbors, but that it could be a long time and can get contested. There was also a memo sent out to the neighborhood about the leash rules and that there will be an upcoming vote about possibly muzzling dogs if they're in common areas outside of our private properties, and the other new neighborhood rules concerning pets. I honestly can't tell if this lady has some sort of mental breakdown or is just plain crazy. Either way, my sister and I both have our separate court dates against her in the mid and end of March. Thank you all for your advice and guidance. I'll be sure to update after the court to keep you guys up to date. I will say there is no update after that, so we're going to assume that all is well, and the only unfortunate circumstance that came out of this was the dog that bit did get put down. But crazy lady is being sued out the ass. Hello, Chaos.
Jeez Louise. That's crazy. Yeah, for a moment I was like, wait, hold on. What are we talking? Is there someone invisible in the room? No, it's the reason why that I was frustrated, because it's like the poor dog has no clue that that's gonna happen, and I feel so bad because it's completely on the owner. That stuff happens, and it's really disappointing because the dog has no say in any of this. Obviously, you know, they can't talk, but it could have been prevented. But at least that lady's getting what's coming for her. I'm at least happy about that, because fur babies get taken very seriously.
Dude, she's looking at like felony convictions just from like the top of my head from what I can think of, aside from obviously the injuries and the property damage. But to send notes, the beating up one can be kind of bypassed depending on the way you take it. But to death threat somebody, that's felony. That's a felony.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of time in jail.
They destroyed the property as well, killed fish, and destroyed plants. They completely damaged properties and threatened on top of that. My curiosity is how the court's going to take it on the fact that she was laughing. It seems intentional at that rate, that she takes obviously joy in the fact that her dog is like,
she needs to go to
however.
fucking mental hospital.
Time to go into the padded walls.
Time to get some grippy socks.
I feel like, I don't know if this is a thing or not. I'm not too well versed with all this type of law information and everything, but I wonder if there's a way for people like with the complexes, wherever she's living or whatever, to mark that on like almost like a background check. So like people who, like, if she moves to a different place, if she doesn't go into jail, you know, that she has a history of this happening, so that at least
either way, it's on a record. It's on a record.
Oh, I know.
So they'll still see it.
I wish like the reports beforehand would have been on a record, because it makes you wonder if she had things like that happen in the past from previous places. Who knows?
I'll say she's only there 6 months and managed to start an eviction process. That's crazy. She couldn't even live there a year without causing a problem.
I didn't even notice that detail yet. I completely forgot.
Bitches be wild.
I will say all this dog talk, and now my dog Nelly, she's right here at my foot.
Aww.
Duke's over here.
I don't know where my cat is. I wish I had a puppy. Sadly, I don't have the space for it, and which is literally the reason why I can't have a puppy. I don't have no fence. Otherwise, if I did, I totally would have a dog, but I can't. So
that was like our main thing when we bought
sad.
a house, was making sure we had a fenced backyard, so I don't have to worry about her getting out. Because you're so dumb. You like highways for some fucking reason, and it scares me. Oh my gosh.
Man, that's crazy. That's a heated post.
It is, and it's just like, I don't know, that shit makes me so mad as a dog owner, but then also for the fact that, like, do I use my license now for dog training? No. I don't, really. I help, like, friends if they reach out, or, like, family, and I'll try my best there, but, like, I have not continued to pursue it. Mainly because people. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because it's really, really infuriating dealing with certain people like that. Because I've had a situation. She would go to a dog park regularly to socialize. I love taking her there. She loves, funnily enough, she's a Rhodesian Ridgeback. She's massive. Okay, she's scared of Great Danes because it's the only dog bigger than her. She loves small dogs. Like, she loves playing with anything smaller than her because I think she imagines that she's that size. And she'll kind of just,
That's
like,
cute.
she'll literally lay there and, like, let all of these tiny dogs, like, chew on her neck folds and stuff. And she's, like, having the best time of her life. It's the weirdest thing. But there was an incident where she was out playing with some dogs. And this is going to sound really white and really cringy. I was in a doggy mommy text chat group, right? Where, like, we were all in the same apartment complex and we would all text each other going, let's walk our babies. Let's go to the dog park together and gossip. Like, I don't know why. I loved it, though. It was awesome.
That sounds like a vibe.
We taught it like children. We would, like, message the chat and I'd be like, oh, Nellie's lonely. Does Journey want to come out and play? Like, we were setting up play dates for our dogs.
That's
Like,
so freaking cute.
So we would go to the dog park all the time. And there was a case while, like, she was out playing. I would typically sit at a bench and to work on myself as a trainer to recognize, like, behaviors in dogs of, like, okay, maybe that dog's a little stressed. He might need to come back soon. These ones are having fun. Might need to watch this one. Like, I would just watch everything. This couple comes in, brings in baby. Fucking, like, just was allowed to leave the house safely kind of puppy, like, very, very young. And they set him down. They do not stray more than a foot. Like, granted, you know, he's literally, like, the size of my hand. This puppy was so fucking small. Another lady comes in the park, has a Rottweiler. There's no problem with that inherently. She's talking on the phone, and she lets him off his leash. He has a harness on. This Rottweiler shoots for the puppy immediately. Like, grabs it by the neck and locks on. And the couple is freaking out because the puppy's squealing and screaming and is being hurt, right? They're trying to pry, and Rottweilers have lockjaw. So once they're down, that grip is there. Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, Lag Spike, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, and there's a couple of the dogs that have lockjaw. So once they bite down,
Dobies.
it locks there. Like, good luck prying their mouth open.
Jeez
It is
Louise.
the biggest pain. And so they're fighting. I immediately, like, I'm up. I'm ready. We're fighting. I get up because they're trying to get the puppy out of its mouth, but nobody's trying to, like, get the Rottweiler off. So I grabbed him by his harness because he had a harness, like, on the back handle. Grabbed that handle and lifted him up and had to pry his mouth open just enough so they could get the puppy back, right? And I'm holding him up on his harness, so he's standing on his hind legs, and I'm looking at this lady, and I'm like, get your dog. You're done. Like, you need to go. This dog is going to kill this puppy. I'm being yelled at, saying, you just hate it because it's an aggressive breed. You're just judging Rottweilers, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, lady, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but not only am I actively in schooling, so I can tell you that everything that you're spewing is not real. I am very much aware that violent breeds are not a thing. It all falls on you as a person. If your dog is about to eat this puppy, you need to step up, because the entire time this was happening, she's talking on the phone like it's a fucking random Tuesday to her.
Jeez
And everybody's
Louise.
in mass panic, screaming at her to leave the park, get your dog, like, go. And, you know, she's yelling at me to let go of her dog. I'm not trying to get sued. So I set him back down. And I'm, like, with the couple now, asking if they're okay, making sure nobody got bit. Puppy's okay. He had a little bit of, like, blood draw on his neck. And we were like, okay, if she doesn't go, unfortunately, like, you guys might have to, just for safety precautions. Everybody was stubborn.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go. So I'm posted up by this puppy now. Nellie's having the time of her life in the background. No idea that this chaos has just ensued. It happens again. They set the puppy down. Rottweiler zooms. This time draws, like, a lot of blood. And there is just mass panic. So again, they get their puppy. The lady of the puppy's, like, kicking the Rottie. I grab his harness, help pry the mouth open. They get the puppy back. They're packing up their stuff. They're leaving. They're, like, now they need to go to a vet. I'm holding on to this dog just by the handle of his harness. I will not let him go. And she's screaming at me like I was called racist, because the woman was not white. So I was accused of being racist. I was accused of judging a breed, saying that Rottweilers are aggressive breeds. And the entire time, I just gave up. I kept holding on to him, and I said, "You're gonna leave. You will leave, or I'm calling the cops. You need to go. Like, we're done. I'm not putting him down. You will get your dog, get off the fucking phone, leave the park." And she came over, snatched her dog from me, and left. And after that, I left because my hand hurt because I got a little bit, and I was pissed off.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, no, you're literally holding the dog because it was endangering someone else. Good grief. Yeah, ugh.
I'm the crazy that runs towards a dog fight when I hear it because I don't want people getting hurt, and I'll take the bite myself.
Oh, yeah. It's brave of you, because a lot of people probably wouldn't step in at all out of the fear of getting bit.
Dude, I don't even care. We had a case where me and my fiance went out to play tennis. There was a dog park just, like, right over the fence. I heard squealing. He watched me drop everything and take off running. He's like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I don't think they know what to do. And at least I'm trained to help separate it. So we're going to use it."
Which, I would be curious, and this is just me personally, this isn't like, you guys don't really need to know any of this, but this is out of personal curiosity. I had went to a place to work, and I left for many reasons. Many reasons. I will not go over the workplace name, purely not to dox myself or the place itself, because I didn't take any legal action on anything. But it was a dog care / training place. Mm-hmm. And so many things felt wrong, and red flags were going off. And for one of the main reasons why I left is because they wouldn't let me take breaks. They completely restricted with health. That was one reason. I didn't take legal action on that because I was too scared.
That is fair.
But the other thing was, apparently I knew someone who had previously worked there and left. One of my relatives. I had no clue. And, I mean, yes, there's, like, the people there didn't seem like they treated you quite right, which is one thing. But she left because of safety issues. She had gotten absolutely scratches and gashes all over her. And when they basically would tell her, "You can't tell anyone, you can't go anyone to this. We're not going to pay for the medication or things to basically help, treat all this." Basically telling her, this is, like, shut up, this is normal, and everything. And hearing about that, I started to see everything on, like, how they trained us to try to take care of the dogs. I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't right, because I don't know how, like, they just let the dogs go, however, and you would briefly break them up, but then they instantly let them go back and then try to go back and attack each other or wrestle or whatever. And it was 24/7 like that. It was bad.
That's really bad.
And for the small time frame I was there, I already got hurt enough as is. I'm like, I can't do this every day. This hurts. And I don't feel safe anymore. Because clearly, if they told, like, a relative of mine, "Yeah, you can't say anything and we're not going to pay for anything," I'm like, this is going to end up in some sort of bad thing, and I don't have the restraint to not curse them out or anything, so I'm going to leave before things get worse.
That's valid. Because the thing is with, like, dog fights, I will say a lot of the time they're not aggression-based. This is not like two dogs saw each other and they were like, that's my pee spot.
Oh, it's pure excitement.
It's like overstimulation is what it comes down to. And it's like, we as people understand that we can get overstimulated. We can have, like, human zoomies. We know how to cope with that, where it's just like an outburst of energy. Dogs don't. And so for them, if we get overstimulated, we understand going to cool off. Dogs don't. Dogs don't have that recognition. And so it'll just start a fight. It's no different than, like, two toddlers kind of teasing each other to a point where now they're throwing toy trains at each other's heads. Like, they're just simply overstimulated, and you can't just, like, separate them momentarily and be like, okay, you're good now. Like, they need to be entirely separated and, like, put in cool down zone.
They need time.
And it's
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I'm sure that was wrong, because they had them all together, like, maybe like 12 dogs all in one confined space, and they wouldn't even bring them to a separate room. They're still in the same room if they moved them away. At the very most, they had to grab the dogs away and try to basically body block and hope that was going to solve it, which is crazy because I'm like, this doesn't feel right, and I'm sure this is not how I'm supposed to be doing things, but if I did anything otherwise, they're going to lecture me, you know? So it's hard 'cause it's like, ugh.
No, I get that. When I worked at the place that I was working at, if there was a dog fight or an altercation where they did get so overstimulated that they started going at each other, we would separate them, and then depending on who started it, who didn't, we would take the one who would start it, and we'd put him back inside into a kennel, let him cool off, let the other one cool off in a separate kennel outside, because we had two big areas. We had like a pool area and we had an outside area. So like, if it was outside, one would go into one of the kennels that was in the garage that was connected to the outside area. The other one would go inside the building in the rows of kennels that we had that was close to the pool area. And we would let them cool off. And usually, depending on what time of day it was, if it was the morning, we would wait until after lunchtime and give them both a chance to like be in group again, because we would have groups of up to 45 dogs, and that was just big dogs alone, not including the little ones. And we would have either 2 or 3 people back there just watching them. And usually most of the time, like, they would, after like having like a good 2-hour break or anything, they would be okay and everything would be fine. But then you have those dogs that are just so like overstimulated, super hyper, and all that kind of stuff, to the point where we had this thing called specials, to where they would have their own potty time and they would spend the rest of the day in their kennel. And like we had a Malinois, or no, not a Malinois, a Dutch Shepherd. His name was Mando. Loved him to bits and pieces. He was my favorite. He was my favorite little boy. I loved him so much. He was in group for a while, and there was one day, I think he just got a little too overstimulated, because one of his playmates usually was in there with him when he came. And they were both in group that day, and they got into 2 dog fights with each other. And then we saw him try to go for a third one, and we were like, nope, that's it. And that officially made him a special, so anytime he would come back for like daycare or boarding or anything, he would be in the kennel and would have set potty times. Which sucks, because like I like the idea of having them socialize, but at the same time, it's a repercussion and safety for both us and the other dogs.
Well, it's not.
And I'm like,
it's like the other dogs are at risk too if you try to keep, which it's very reassuring to hear that from you guys, because I wasn't sure if I was crazy.
No,
You're not crazy.
You're not crazy.
Yeah, because, oh wow, man, it makes you realize how much, like, should have taken precaution that wasn't, and no wonder why my red flags were going off, because hearing that sounds like how it should be, entirely.
It also does come down to
that space and that break.
The space and the break, and then it also comes down to dog age.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a daycare
completely.
or like boarding area, you cannot expect a whole bunch of puppies to play well with a bunch of senior dogs. Those need to be segregated because they're going to get fed up. Like when I for my college, it was 6 months booked, 6 months with a trainer, to where I would watch her teach puppy classes, and then I was teaching her puppy classes. And a lot of the times I was allowed to bring Nellie with for the first bit. I had to stop bringing her with because those puppy classes were, 8 to 6 months old, 8 weeks to 6 months old. So very, very little baby guys, and she was bordering a year old. Just that gap doesn't seem big, created a huge difference.
Big.
I let her out for 5 minutes, and to have 12 puppies jumping all around her, she showed teeth for a moment, and I said, oh my God. And my trainer looked at me and she was like, you can't. And I was like, I'm going to take her home. before anything else can occur. She showed teeth. That's the sign. I'm going to put her in the car. I will see you next week. Like, I'm not going to risk it.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time where Duke was, we had a 6-month-old puppy graduate into Bigs from Littles because we had like a weight requirement, mainly like weight and size requirement. It was 30 to 35 pounds. If they were above that, they would go into Bigs. If they were under that or right at that, they would go into Littles. Duke's a different case because, you know, he doesn't have his balls anymore. He hasn't had his balls since he was 6 months old. He didn't have socialization, so he's a horny old bitch. He would try to hump the younger ones in Littles and even the older ones, so we were like, let's put him into Bigs and see if he's fine. He didn't hump another dog until the 6-month-old graduated. The 6-month-old was named Stone. He was a pit bull. And, the penny just thought he was playing. And then we grabbed Duke off, put him in a kennel for, like, to cool off for a little bit. Let him out after 45 minutes. He left the dog alone. And granted, we usually say, like, if they do graduate into Bigs, that they need to get neutered or spayed, just because of heat reasons. And Stone at that point had his dad called, and he got taken home until he was neutered. But we let Duke out, and he went for a Border Collie healer mix named Ruth. She's a feisty one. Loved her. She's a bitch, but loved her. She actually tore his ear.
Oh my.
And that was repercussion because he was humping her. And honestly, I looked at the dog and I was like, you know what? Good for you. And then I looked to Duke and I was like, you're stupid. You're stupid. I hope you learned your lesson. And he didn't hump the rest of the time I was there. And I was like,
Oh, really?
Ruth taught him a lesson. That's perfectly fine. Has he tried to hump the cats? Yes. Do I?
No, not the cats.
It's so bad, dude. I don't know if it's just because I'm convinced my dog is bisexual. 100%. I know, like,
dog that would go and hump all the dogs, and that one was because of. I'm pretty sure that one was for dominance and everything.
Yes, it's a domination thing.
It was so bad. I'm like, dude, stop! This is embarrassing. Stop humping everybody and everything. Oh.
It's usually a domination thing, and that's what was happening in the little group with him. Is because he's 9. He was 7, 8 when we were there, so it hasn't been that long. But he was doing it because, oh, I'm older. I got, big fucking imaginary balls. You're gonna listen to me because I'm older and I'm superior. No, that's not how this fucking works.
See, Nelly never had that issue.
If that dog's bigger than you, you're fucked. And then there was one time he tried to hump a Great Dane. That was kind of funny to watch.
The size.
She's seen my. So I have a boxer beagle mix. I have a boggle.
He's like this big.
I have a boggle. He's just a little bit bigger than a normal beagle. That trying to hump a full-size Great Dane, it was just him humping the Great Dane's leg. It was the funniest fucking shit you will ever see. Because it's just like, imagine like a Pomeranian trying to hump a Great Dane.
Oh, jeez.
I'm so glad Nelly never had that issue.
Visual's crazy.
I had the adverse issue. She never aggressive, doesn't bite, doesn't do anything stupid, aside from the food aggression that was fixed. But if another dog tried to hump her, then it was a problem. I would have to make it known to either the mom friends or like other friends who had dogs that I was like, hey, is this a problem with your dog? And they're like, well, yeah, why? You know, it's a dog thing. And I'm like, I'm telling you now, my dog will bite yours. She won't do it. Like, I've watched her do it because typically dogs won't just like fight all outright. She makes it known of like, I don't like this, stop. And she'll turn around and she'll bite once and then she'll back up and she'll watch. And I've watched her do this with at least 3 dogs. And they typically lag. They typically don't do it again. We had one of my friend's dogs, we would like constantly dog sit for her when she would go on vacation. He had a problem with that. And I told her, and I was like, my dog will bite him. She will bite him. And she said, it's okay, let it happen, he'll learn. And I said, okay, I'm just telling you now. Like, obviously, if it progresses, I'll stop it. But she'll nip at him. And the first night he came over, he tried. She whipped around and nipped him. Never tried it again. And now they are best friends.
Oh, well, at least there's a happy ending to that.
It's you got the dominance thing, you got the like protection thing, you got overall. We don't understand dogs' emotions, but they understand ours, and it's kind of the reverse thing with the whole overstimulation thing. Like, we know how to handle that, but they don't. There's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities between us and dogs in terms of emotions. Like, I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna have the same reaction of, let's put ourselves in that situation of, we're out with friends and some dude's just like, hey, baby girl.
Tase.
Exactly. Like, we're gonna have that same like negative reaction to where it's similar to nipping and biting, to where they need to learn. Okay, no offense. Will men learn after that? Some of them do. Some of them don't.
Yeah. I love the casual progression from that story to Great Dane, or like Pomeranian Great Dane humping.
You know how cute those puppies would be if that could ever happen?
Oh my god, like fluffy, big floppy faces.
Oh my god,
Would
imagine
they be
they're
a
Great
big
Dane
dog,
size, but they're
or
just
would
a
they be
giant
tiny?
mop.
Wait, what if they're like a dachshund in some sort of sense where their body's big but their legs are just short still?
That's a fucking stubby horse. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stubby horse!
That's a pony.
That's a pony.
They can't let those two breed. That seems like I don't even know how that works. I can't even visualize the outcome.
I think there's worse breeds out of that. I mean,
Has that happened?
Probably. I mean, take pugs, though. So,
it makes me tempted.
Listen, everybody likes pugs. Pugs are cute. They breathe stupid. They make dumb noises. I get it. But from the scientific standpoint, pugs should not exist and are like one of the greatest monstrosities within dog breeds, because the reason they breathe weird is from how many, like, I forgot the exact details of like their breeding line. But the reason they breed weird is because their skull's essentially smashed in, and that's just how they are.
They're breast-cephalic.
Skulls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
So that's why also
a
pugs
lot of
live like
short-
very short lifespans.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I feel bad for pugs in the sense where they have a hard time breathing and they usually have a lot of health problems.
So
that's because they shouldn't exist.
That comes with genetics and like the breeding line, but also like the hardness to breathe comes with all brachycephalic breeds. Boxers have a hard time breathing when it's super hot outside. You got Frenchies. Frenchies fucking snort whenever they get the chance. You got English Bulldogs. You got Mastiffs. Even if Mastiffs don't look like they got like a big smushed in face, they do. You got Shar-Peis. I could go. The list goes on. But
People have mixed things that shouldn't be mixed.
No.
They took Pokefusion too seriously.
I will say, I get the general census of liking pugs, but I'm sorry. a puggle, that is a monstrosity that should not exist.
I don't like pugs. I like peekapoos.
See, I don't hate pugs. I feel bad for them. I don't hate them, but I kind of don't wish it was popular because they clearly are not having a great life. They're struggling throughout most of it, just even to breathe. So I always feel so bad.
Oh my god, cat! But,
Yeah, pugs are interesting. I'll be honest, I still don't fully know what my dog is, because granted, I got her for free from a friend. Like, quite literally, I got into my college, and I was like, okay, I should probably get a puppy, because we're at peak COVID, and I do most of this at home, should probably get a puppy to train. And I was looking at, like, the shelters nearby, and then a friend hits me up, I'm sure she's fine, on Snapchat. And she was like, it's always the clunk, the cats knock something over. But she hit me up and was like, hey, I got a buddy who just had these puppies. They don't want them. I will give you the first set of shots for free, and you can have the dog for free. And I was like,
oh, dang.
All right. Yeah, do you have the mutt? And they were like, yeah, the mutt is the only one that we can't find a home. I love taking, like, the mutt. I love taking the runt of the litter. That is my favorite thing. It's what my dad does, so I do it now. And they were like, here's this one. Here's the runt. And I was like, give her. I want her. The day she turned 8 weeks, I fucking picked her up in a gas station parking lot at like midnight. I don't know why we did this so late. It was like a shady drug deal for a dog. Like, it was so bad.
People at the gas station are like, what the hell is going on over there?
Dude, I don't know why we did it like that. Like, I vividly remember, I have the Snapchat video still of like getting her for the first night. And if I timestamp that, the gas station was closed. It is only the lights off for the lights on for the pumps, and we're like in a dark corner of the parking lot exchanging this dog.
Dude, okay, can we talk about how awkward it is to pick up a dog or a cat from someone? Because you're usually at their house, usually, in most circumstances, not a gas station, but you're usually at their house, you've never met them before, and you're like in their place, like, hi! Oh, I'm gonna look at the animal to see if they mix with us and everything, but this is so awkward because I have to, like, meet a new person,
oh my
in
god,
my
yeah.
house, and, like, it's so awkward.
Dude, it was like, from just past experiences of, like, getting other animals, thankfully, Nellie's the first dog that I have owned independently. Prior to that, it's always been, like, family dogs. So I never really saw too much of the process, or I was just kind of, like, too young. You know, you bring a kid in the car and you're like, we're gonna go pick up a new puppy. I don't care where. I don't care if it's in some random guy's garage. I'm having the time of my life. You just told me we're getting a puppy. Like, but other than that, a lot of our pets were rescues. And so there was still those, like, meetups. But I think, like, as a kid, it never really registered. I didn't care that you put me in a stranger's house. There's 10 dogs running around. I am having a field day right now. Like, I don't care. I just know one of them is coming with us. You could say that we're in, like, a trailer and the guy's cooking meth in the bathroom. I don't care. There's 10 dogs in front of me and I'm 12. I'm having the time of my life.
At that age, you really don't care nor really notice those kinds of things.
Yeah, as an adult, I don't think I could do it. I think I would kind of sit there and be like, oh, can I know it's your house, but can you, like, leave the room so I can, get a feel for the dog?
Yeah, it's awkward. Luckily, in all the cases I've been with, except for one, actually, they usually kind of, like, there's the room where the animal's usually in and everything, and they kind of let you hang out with them. Usually somewhat, like, they're just, like, somewhere in the proximity just in case, but they're not in the same room, and I usually leave you be to vibe check the animal and everything. Like, my cat Kona was kind of sort of like that circumstance. Actually, no. Wait, no, she wasn't! Dude, I just realized how crazy I seem, because on a whim, one day, my cousin was like, yo, this person has a cat, do you want it? I'm like, yes, please. And we go to their house. I literally pick up the cat, because they give the cat to me. She's like, scared. She's like, new person. She's like 2 months old at this rate, because all her siblings got adopted, but she didn't, and they were trying to find her home for so long. And the moment she was like licking me and everything, like giving kisses and everything, like, oh yeah, you're mine. Like 5 minutes into holding her, I'm like, okay, guys, thank you. Here's the money. I'm taking her. She's mine.
Dude.
I'm so glad it went well, but I'm realizing how crazy I sound for literally like being in the entry of their house, holding her for a little bit, and be like, okay, this works.
Like, I like this. To be fair, I don't think, unless you go through a shelter, nobody gets animals through normal reasons. Because if I look back at my history of animals, so aside from the fact that Nellie was a shady drug deal at midnight for some reason, my cat Dragon, I got her on accident. I was not supposed to come home with a cat that day. I was responsible, so I had a truck. I was 16, 17, was able to drive, so that effectively made me the chauffeur for my little cousins. So, like, I would get out of school, go pick them up at elementary school, we'd get in my car, I'd take them to their auntie's house, drop them off, and I'd leave, right? Cool. They had cats. They had stray cats. Well, their indoor cat hooked up with a stray cat. Suddenly, there's 8 kittens around the backyard, and I was dropping off my little cousin, and it was, normally I would, like, stay in the truck. I never really got out. I would open the door, unbuckle her, let her out. I would wait to see that she got inside the house, and I would leave. Because I'm very tired at the end of every day. It doesn't matter, work, school, whatever. I just want to go home. I don't want to get out of my car and interact, right? I saw a kitten, and immediately I was like, oh, you know what, sissy? I'm going to go in with you this time, because why are there kittens suddenly? There's never kittens here. So I get out and go with her to make sure she gets inside, and I see just a plethora of kittens running amok in this backyard, right? And I ping that one of them doesn't have a tail. Like, it has like a bob tail. And I was talking to my aunt about it, and I was like, why does this one not have a tail? And she was like, oh, because the dad doesn't have a tail, like, it's the breed. So that's the only one in the litter that didn't have a tail. Like, the rest of them had tails. And they were all black cats. And it's just this one had a little bob. And I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. And because the strays were mothered from an indoor cat, they stayed outside and were mice catchers, but they loved people. So the way in which I kind of just like walked over and picked it up and went, I am in love with whatever the fuck this thing is. And she went, do you want it? And I was like, Auntie, yeah, I want it. But, you know, I'm 17. Mom's going to kill me if I pull up with a cat. And it was December when this was occurring. Christmas was like 2 weeks away. And she said, okay, hold on, I'll be right back. Takes the cat, goes inside the house, comes back. There's a ribbon around its neck.
Oh my God!
And she
that's
said,
freaking awesome!
Tell your mom it's a Christmas gift from Aunt Deb. No takesy backsies. And I looked at her,
Dude,
and I was like,
that's awesome!
no takesy backsies, right? I put her in my car. I go straight home. I grabbed a box out of the garage, put her in the closet, right? Because I know my parents well enough that I devised plans and mental gymnastics for no reason. I kept her in my closet and a secret until midnight. I waited for my dad to go to bed. I waited for him to be in a deep enough sleep that he wasn't going to wake up. I went out to the living room, and I was like, hey, Mom. And she knew the tone. She was like, what do you want? What did you do? And I was like, I need to show you something. But you can't be mad at me.
Oh, no.
Full government name. And she's like, what? What did you do? What is in your room? And I was like, you can't be mad at me, but I need you to come here. She's expecting, you know, like a bomb, a drugs, like anything but a cat in my closet. And I opened the door and, like, you know, boop, there was Dragon. And I don't even know how old Dragon was. I want to say she was right at the 8-week mark because no one cared. She literally just handed me the cat and said, go home. And I was like, fuck yeah. And my mom looked at me and she's like, your dad's going to kill you. We cannot have a cat. It's going to the shelter. We're not doing this. Aunt Deb is going to be yelled at the next morning. And I was like, listen, Mom, hold on. I'll take care of it. It's midnight. No animal shelter's open. And you can't be a bad person and put this cat outside. That's mean. It's going to die. And
no full thought process.
I just kind of gaslit my mother in the middle of the night to keep her. And then the next morning, like, I went to school, waited for my dad to come home. He had kind of a rundown, but my mom had enough cool time. I don't even remember like what that conversation was, but end all be all, I kept her. And it was never a normal process. It was just I went to drop off my cousin and I came home with a cat all because I went, that one doesn't have a tail and that's really cool. And they went, here you go.
That's funny. I love that. My first cat, she ended up on our doorstep and we were like, like, we heard meowing. We couldn't figure out where she was. We found her. We ended up, like, bringing her inside, you know, to get her off the streets and everything. And then we were looking everywhere, like, whose cat is this? We put posters up. We're like, if your cat's missing, we have them. No one ever claimed the cat. That she kind of imprinted on me, and that she was ours for the rest of, you know. It makes me wonder, like, tell us your craziest stories on how you got your pets at this rate.
Oh yeah, I want a full,
I really want to know because they never.
in-depth.
Yeah.
Nobody
Full
gets
story.
cats normally. I think like dogs you can get from a
Yeah,
shelter.
it's
I
cat.
don't commonly hear like, you're the only person I think I know that's like, oh, I went to the shelter and got cats. Everyone else is like, oh, I went outside and this thing was yelling at me and now it's inside and I have it.
Dude, it's
To be
always
fair,
cats.
I worked at said shelter, so
That's
I
funny.
worked at the shelter. I saw these two litter mates, and I saw their other two. The other two got adopted. They didn't. I brought my husband to come look at cats because we wanted to get one, and he was set on this fluffy orange one who didn't even have a thought behind his eye. I'm talking this cat was cross-eyed. No thoughts. His name was Nacho. He came
I
in
love
with a
Nacho.
litter of 8.
Oh,
And
I want an orange cat so bad.
it was 6 orange boys and 2 tabby calico females. And we named all the orange boys after orange things. One of them was named Pumpkin. And then turns out those two, literally the week we got ours, Nacho and his brother Cheddar got adopted by the foster family that had fostered them for the extra couple of weeks before they could come back to the shelter. So I texted him and I was like, we can't get Nacho. And he's like, why? And I'm like, the foster family took him. And he's like, I'll pay them. And I'm like, you're not paying them.
That's why I can't
But
foster.
then-
I'd fail.
I brought him to the shelter with me on a day I was off and a day he was off. And we went through the cat ward and I showed him our cats now. Their names were Fox and Badoo at the time. It's a tabby and a black cat. And they were the last 2 in the room. And Fox, now known as Mink, like literally scaled my husband from ankle all the way to shoulder and just perched himself. He's like, I fucking want this one. And I was like,
That's so cute.
I was like, well, I also want the brother because I don't like separating siblings.
Oh, yeah, no.
If they come
It's usually
together.
a rule. It's usually a rule you can't separate them too.
I hate separating them, and I knew at that time because they had both been at the shelter for at least 2 weeks. Like, Badoo, now known as Binks, he didn't get along well with other cats if it wasn't his litter mates.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm not doing that to him. I want this one because he's extremely cuddly. Like, Mink didn't want to be held. He said, fuck you, I want to climb shit. Binks said, oh yes, cradle me in your arms. I love all of it, please. So we got both of them. But with me working at the shelter, we got one free. And I think it was Mink that we got free. And then their personalities have now totally switched.
Oh, really?
Mink loves to be held. He's a little mama's boy. If we let them come into our room, he is up on my chest and he is cuddling me and he's purring and he's falling asleep and he's laying there. He'll cuddle Duke. He's not climbing on stuff as much. He doesn't chew anything like how he did when we first got him.
The cables.
Binks, on the other hand, Binks chews the cables. The motherfucker climbs on the shelves and knocks our Legos over. he fucks with the dog and says, "No, screw you," and he messes around with him to the point Duke's yelping and barking at them, and like he's running around shit in their room and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, what happened? He still likes to be held. It's just like I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Who hurt you?
Teenagers.
They are almost one. They are in their prime teenage stage.
Oh yeah, they change personalities partially throughout time. They mellow out usually. Usually, most cases they mellow out. Because I had a really sweet boy, and he was chaotic, biting cables and all kinds of things, chasing his sister and whatnot. But then he became the biggest snuggle bug who needed attention all the time, and he would force his way into like your arms, or you're hitting your face with his face. He's like rubbing all up against you. It was
Like,
cute.
love me, mother.
Oh, dude.
They run around all the fucking time. Like, they sumo wrestle each other to where they're thudding on the floor. She's seen it.
Little demons.
It's hilarious.
I love
They're
watching
little
animal personalities
skinwalkers.
change, though, because, like, one of my fiance's cats, Gretchen, is my favorite fucking cat. I love this baby. She's the oldest cat. She's just a giant fluff doll. She's a rag doll, baby doll, whatever. She's very fuzzy. When I first was, like, introduced to them, none of them really gave, like, two shits about me, right? Because obviously, like, new person. And, like, Gretchen was always the cat of, don't touch me. I will let you know when you can touch me. Like, very much so, like, prissy, prima donna, 25'8". I would be like, oh, come here, let me pet you. And she'd be like, and she'd walk away from me. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm getting shoulder checked by a cat. Like, I've never been mean mugged and side-eyed so severely in my life that I was like, we're having a rivalry. For what reason? I just want to love you. And then she 180'd on me. And the 180 happened, and this is why I also really love animals. I think they can pick up on this stuff. I lost Dragon, unfortunately, on New Year's. It was a wreck. I was not living La Vida Loca, not live, laugh, loving. And Gretchen started to kind of turn around. And it really hit when I got Dragon's ashes sent to me. They are now on my nightstand. I fucking fell. I crumbled. And like, that shit's not fun. And I'm not going to delve too much on that. But Gretchen really 180'd because I was just crying profusely. Like, every night I would fall asleep crying. And she never cuddled me. This bitch did not care about me. I wasn't allowed to pet her. I woke up one morning and, like, obviously, like, I fell asleep crying. Waking up the next morning after crying is not fun. But I wake up to fuzz. And I was like, what the fuck? She had curled up
sweet.
under my arm and under my head a little bit. And, like, I was looking at her, and I was like, okay, I'll take this. This is a rare opportunity, right? Now, this cat is the biggest fucking baby with me. I can't go pee alone. She comes with. I can't shower alone. She sits on the counter making sure I'm okay. If I'm brushing my hair, she sits on the bathroom counter and swats at me for attention. If I walk past her and don't pet her, she will swat at my ankle and grab my pants until I turn around. She yells at me all the time. She knows when it's bedtime. I will literally say bedtime, and she gets up onto the bed directly behind my back and will swat at my back until I reach over to pet her.
Aww,
and then she'll, like,
that's
flop into it.
cute.
I'll wake up in the morning and, like, I can grab her like a baby and hug her. And two of the biggest things that she does now is my chair has a footstool. Do I use it? No, because I don't use it. You know who uses it, though? Gretchen. She will come up to the side and she, like, outstretches for me and screams. And so all I do is I'll take it, flip it over, and she'll know that, like, I pick her up and put her here. She goes to the footstool. She lays down. She'll be there for hours. With my aerial hoop
so
now,
sweet.
all of the animals know that if I'm on it, I probably can't see you. I'm probably in VR. Please avoid me. Gretchen, no. If I'm on the aerial hoop long enough, she gets under it and she'll yell at me and she'll swat at my leg. Now, whenever she yells at me if I'm on the hoop, I have to, so I have, like, a strap to keep the headset on. I have to hang upside down on my knees, keep one hand on the bar so I'm, like, at a weird Like, take this angle, but then slant it upside down. I have to scoop her up with the free arm and put her on my chest and slowly spin with her. Time of her life. She loves being in the hoop with me.
That's so bizarre. Most cats would hate that so much.
Dude, she'll beat the shit out of me. I can literally be spinning and like zoned out and just kind of locked in on a song, right? And I'll hear meow, meow, and I'll feel like a claw on my heel. And I have to look down from the headset to see that she just wants uppies momentarily. And so I gotta like dangle upside down and put her on my chest and do a couple spins until she's like, yeah, that was awesome. Same time tomorrow?
That's cute. I love that so much.
I will say we have severely detered, but you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. Because if it's okay with you, I have one more story that is also pet-themed accidentally. And we could probably call it there tonight.
It's a pet day.
Okay.
So I was supposed to read this story. Not supposed to. Last week, we had Ash. I gave him a choice between two stories. One would be scrapped for a later day. This is that later day. So I picked this like last week. Unintentionally ended up being pet themed. This comes from Am I the Asshole? This is a newer post too. This is a month old. So it is titled, Am I the Asshole for refusing to babysit my sister's miracle baby after what she did to my dog? So my sister, 32 female, had a baby last year after years of struggling with infertility. We were all happy for her. She called him her miracle baby, and honestly, I didn't mind the attention he got until things got weird. I am a 28-year-old, have a golden retriever named Benny. He's 5, sweetest boy alive. Everyone in the family loves him, even my sister used to, until the baby came along. One time I brought Benny over when I visited. He stayed on his mat, didn't bark or even move. The baby started crying and my sister went, I think he's making the baby nervous, and asked me to put him outside in the middle of winter. I said no and left early. That was strike one. Next time I saw her, she told me to straighten up. She didn't want Benny around her son because he's a dog. I said, okay, whatever, and stopped bringing him around, but I could tell that something shifted. Then one day, I was out of town for a weekend, and she begged me to let her stay at my place because hers was getting fumigated, and I agreed, thinking it was chill. I come home Sunday night, and Benny is hiding under the bed, trembling, looking scared. I find out that she locked him in the laundry room for 2 days straight because he was staring too much, and that made the baby fussy. No food or water, just locked him in there. I lost it. I told her she was never setting foot in my house again and that she was lucky I didn't call animal services. Fast forward a month and she's going back to work and suddenly I'm her first choice for free childcare. Wants me to watch her baby 2 days a week. I said no. She flipped and called me bitter and selfish and said I clearly don't understand what it means to love family unconditionally. My mom got involved and said I'm being cruel and I could be helping. This isn't just about a dog, it's about how she's treating something I love without remorse and now expects me to drop everything to help her like nothing happened. Am I the asshole for saying no to babysitting my nephew because of what she did to my dog?
No.
No, not at all. No.
Dude.
Jeez.
Listen.
No food and water is not okay at all.
For 2 days?
For 2 days. Like, 1 day is already bad enough it is. 2? Because, like, the poor dog was probably super dehydrated. And I don't blame her for not, like... Yeah, I don't blame them for not wanting to, like, help them out at all when they were completely disrespected up front. You know, it's putting yourself first and respecting yourself.
Here's my thing. Like... If you didn't like her dog being around your kid in the first place, why ask her to babysit? Like, why is she your first course of
Yeah, where does she
action
think the
when it comes
dog's
to
gonna go if
free
she babysits?
childcare?
I don't understand that. No, that doesn't make sense, but it could be the case of everybody else turned them down. Everybody else already said no. Or maybe they're the only person who would do it for free. I don't know. There's multiple reasons why they could have been the person they were asked.
I'll say I hate that shit because it's like, also, here's the thing, aside from the fact that, I understand like a mother being protective of a newborn. I'm not a mom, but I can understand that feeling of worrisome around pets because I've seen like newborn cousins, and they're very wary around all animals. But that's just because, babies don't understand grip control or anything, so babies can grab on very aggressively, which leads to biting. Sometimes animals just don't like babies. I've watched a cat swat at a newborn for no other reason than the newborn existed, and the cat said, "I don't fucking like this thing." But it's like, as much as I understand that, if that makes you uncomfortable, one, why do you want her babysitting? Two, why are you staying over there knowing that the dog lives there? Like, that's his home. That's his world. You think you could just change that because you popped out something? That is not how that works. Like, then you have to draw a line with that, especially when it comes to dogs and their boundaries and their spaces. Like, even if she had a baby, if she hit me up with, hey, don't bring your dog to the house newborn, cool, won't happen. But if you expect me to change the rules of how my dog is in her house for you to come over, that doesn't work for me, because this is her home. I'm not going to confine her and restrict food and water because you want to bring your child over. And I don't like the mom defending it, because yes, like you said, they could have been denied. But at the end of the day, if I say, no, I'm not babysitting, and you say, family's family, okay, then you do it.
Exactly. Here's the thing. You're allowed to say no. It is not your responsibility for friends, family, regardless. You can say no. And regardless if you have a good reason or not, but because it's family, then it gets tricky, because people usually will attack you for the fact of, like, you're supposed to support each other, regardless if this person has been disrespectful to you.
I don't like the family is
family. My dog is family.
I don't agree with it at all.
I'll say, like, the dog is family.
Dog is family.
The dog's family. So why do I gotta change, huh?
I think most people can agree with the fact that most pets are more like family than anyone else you'll ever meet.
It's like, I'm sorry you evicted a fucking crotch goblin.
I'll say, why are we punishing OP for wanting to not babysit when she's not the one who, like, she didn't have the kid. She didn't pop this thing out into existence. It was her and her dog chilling. Benny's being a good boy. Why are we punishing Benny? What the fuck did Benny do? Free my boy.
Yeah. Good grief.
I didn't evict the crotch goblin. You did. You don't get to tell me what to do with my baby, even if he's four-legged and furried.
Please tell me majority vote was you're not the asshole.
Oh, yeah, no. So if I were to go through these comments...
because I was going to say, I would lose it if everybody thought they were the asshole.
Like, I'm reading all these comments, and everybody's recounting their own stories, but end of the day, the result is...
It's relatable.
Yeah, someone's saying, like, I'd be livid, I'd be fuming. This is maximum level heartlessness. A dog with no food or water would be sick. But why would they be cowering in fear? I have an awful feeling that there's a part that OP doesn't know about, because that is a thing. You can lock a dog in a room, but for it to be... dogs specifically to cower in fear, you did so much more.
When you first said that, that was my assumption. That wasn't that they withheld food and water. It was that they beat the other person's dog. That's what my first assumption was. And then it progressively even got worse to restraining all that from them.
Dude, I hate that shit. And, like, honest to God, it's kind of a side tidbit, just stepping away from, like, pets. I fucking hate the family is family. I do not like the whole, like, idea too of, well, free childcare, because, like, listen, and I've had this discussion, I believe, briefly with, like, my parents. If I were to have a child, granted, never happening, and they well understand that that's not happening. I have animals, that's it, we're calling it there. But it's like, if I were to have a kid, I'm not gonna hit up all of my family for free childcare. Because at the end of the day, if I couldn't afford daycare, if I can't afford a childcare, then I'm not having the baby.
You can't afford to have a kid. Yeah.
Why is that everybody else's problem? Because
all.
family is family and we have to help each other? No, just because you
never
can't afford it doesn't
understand
mean
that.
I can.
Well, it's interesting because like I am at least blessed in the sense that I have been the main babysitter for both pets and kids and everything in our family. And luckily everybody at least has some sort of like, I'll pay you this, or like you know, we'll do this or whatever. And it's like, okay, you know. So at least there's the also being able to deny it. They're like, can you? If you can't, that's okay. We can find someone else. You know. So at least I am blessed with people who are respectful of me and understanding that, one, it's my time. I have other things I could be doing, even if it's related to work or something else. So sacrificing that time, you know, time in a way, in this case, is money. I don't mean to seem like one of those people, but it's kind of hard. Like, if you're fully been like, hey, I want to babysit your kid for you, you don't have to worry, don't pay me. That's one thing, but expecting just because they're a family member just to get free childcare is a whole nother story. Because if it's long term, that's how many hours upon hours upon hours of you taking care of someone else's kid.
Yup.
When you could be, and especially, I don't know about everybody here, but life is expensive. That time you're spending babysitting someone's kid for free could be spent literally working a normal job and getting paid for your time and being able to afford more things. It's a lot.
I'll say, I'm going to be denying babysitting. But, like, one, I did a lot of babysitting as a kid. But two, I value my time so much more now, like, as an adult and having things. And I think just, like, this month's been really busy for me as well. And so I value, like, all of my free time. If I can get that shit, I'm like, oh, nobody contact me. Like, I have time. I don't have to stream. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to have an alarm for something. Like, we can be idiots. If I get hit up for, hey, can you babysit for freezies? I'm going to say, nuh-uh. And if you ask why, I have a date with Minecraft.
Well, it's like it's the same reason why people eventually, if someone doesn't understand this, they will come to understand. It's like even who you choose to spend your time with, like friends and everything. Like, if they're not worth your time, you shouldn't be there. How you spend your time, and it's like one thing you'll understand as you get older and everything. And I'm not even that old. It's like the time you spend with family, friends, your own personal time is worth a lot. It's worth a lot, and you will regret it if you don't spend your time the way you want it to. And I don't know. That's a whole other tangent. That's like...
Dude, it's so valid, though, because, like, I think a lot of the times, and I've seen it a little bit between families, personal and non, of, like, I think when it comes to if you don't have a kid, you're not a mom, but you have family who is that parent and is, like, requesting you to do it because you're viewed as, like, you're child-free, so you obviously have more time. And it's like, yeah, I'm child-free because I chose to be. I have that time because I chose to make that time. Just because I did these decisions for myself, I didn't do that to benefit you. I'm not choosing to be child-free so you can have a kid and then I can be a nanny forever. Like, that wasn't the plan. I chose to not have kids, and I chose to have my free time because I fucking cherish the shit out of that free time. Doesn't mean I want to do other things. Sometimes I just want to lay in bed and do nothing. And I'm entitled to that.
It's really sad how that's actually super common. I heard multiple cases where just because you're the child-free kid, you become the laborer or the babysitter and are expected of that. Or I've heard the cases, and I feel so bad for them, where there's couples who get married and they don't want kids, and that's like how they want to live their life, and that's perfectly okay. You know, props to them that they figure out what they want in life. And then they have the parents or the grandparents being like, you need to have kids. No, they don't. It's their choice. And it's like, there's a lot of family expectations that goes into their kids sometimes, and it's one of those cases where it's like completely overstepping. entirely.
Oh, dude, I think it's really funny to watch unfold sometimes. Just like out of a personal experience, we've had somebody who, we are getting married in 5 months' time, and like obviously we met on video games and all of that, and we bought a house now, and so it's like since we bought a house, the amount of people that I have had come to me and go, "Oh, but you guys still play video games?" But why? Like, you have a house now, you're
Dude.
getting married, and I'm like, okay, does that make them
How
any
does that
less
change?
fun?
It's really funny to watch people not grasp and understand. Like, that's how you spend your time with your partner. Like, that's how I am with mine. It's a nice way to spend time. I mean, you can go out on. I mean, it's not like we're limited to that. Like, we could go out on hikes or do this and that, but it's one of the things that we like to spend time doing. Just because we've grown older, just because you've, walked past certain achievements in life, doesn't mean those things need to stop. Doesn't mean, just because it's framed as youthful or childish to play games, doesn't mean it is. Doesn't mean you need to, like, completely push it all aside,
Oh, dude, it's the funniest thing to me, and I, with such pride every time, if I hear, like, that little side jab of, do you guys still play video games? Yes, we do. You want to know what we play? Actually, I can tell you about a campaign we're doing right now. You want to see how our desks look? They sit right next to each other. Like, if you ask me
so cute,
with a
though.
snarky
I love
remark,
that.
I'm gonna, like, drown your ear off with random facts about it, because you open that door. I have no problem.
See, I love that you guys spend time like that. It's cute. I don't understand what people's problems of it is. Like,
And I
you're
think-
just spending time.
I think a lot of people think
It
that's
could
like
be out of
all we
jealousy.
do. I think it is a lot of like out of jealousy because like obviously, sometimes adult priorities take hold. We don't always have time for this. We both still work full-time
Mhm.
jobs. We got shit to do, like, but I think because of our lifestyle choices, we do have a pretty hefty chunk of free time, and I really value that. But I also
Mhm.
think people, they hear that we play games still, and they're like, "Oh, so you don't do anything? Like, you don't go outside? You don't do anything at all?" And it's like, no, we do, but I don't broadcast it to the world. Like this last weekend, yes, we played video games for a fair amount of our time. We've been all playing Minecraft with the SMP server, but like we went out, got fishing equipment. We were out fishing the whole day. And that shit
Aw.
was so fun, and I have never raged so much over fish. I didn't think I would ever find fishing, like, fun, because where I'm from, like, fishing's an all-day task in a sense of you could be out there for hours and you're not catching anything. And, like,
And
granted,
not get anything. Yeah.
that's still possible with where we live, but something I noticed is they're called bait fish, and it's just a bunch. They're not minnows. They're big enough to not be minnows, but they're fucking everywhere. And there's just like hundreds of them, and they're little bastards. But you catch them, use them as bait to get the bigger fish out in the ocean, right? I beefed with bait fish for the entire day because we had shrimp bait. So I would put the shrimp on the hook, and I was already grossed out because I don't like touching raw shrimp because it feels like spider legs and it freaks me out. And I was trying already to keep my cool and not stab myself on a fish hook. And I would toss my line, and as I was reeling in, I would watch these bait fish. A whole bunch of them, like 20 of them. And they were small enough that they couldn't bite the hook, but big enough that they could eat the
No.
bait. And so I would be reeling in, and I would feel it snag, and I could see it, because it was just, like the water was clear enough that I would see what was snagging. And I would reel and I would pull, thinking I caught one. No, I caught nothing, but I watched them take my bait.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just beefing with these tiny, like 2-inch, they're pinfish is what they were, but bait fish. And it reached a point where I literally just sat there, would put bait on the line and drop it in the water and watch them just fucking swarm like little piranhas, take my shrimp, and then leave. And I was like, how am I supposed to catch
Fish are
anything?
smart. Fish are actually really smart.
I've never been
It's
so mad at
bad.
fish in my life.
Oh
Like,
man.
oh my god, we reached a point where I was reeling because I felt it snag, and I was like, finally, I got one of you little bastards. You can't get away from me. And so I pulled up. No, we played tug of war for no reason. He took my bait, but he had the hook somehow without it hooking into him. and then he let go. And so the hook, I had pulled with enough force that the hook came out of the water, and I watch it rise and go above me. And in a moment of panic, I don't want to let go of the pole, but I don't want to get hit with a fish hook, just in case. So I'm sitting here like dancing while this hook's falling from the sky because I just played tug of war with a fish.
I wish I could have seen that. I really wish I could have seen that.
There was like a whole dock of people fishing, right? And it's just me and him. He's sitting there quietly doing his thing, reeling out his shit. And I'm not a quiet person. I will say every intrusive thought. I don't care. Don't take me to a grocery store because the things you're going to hear are just nuts. And the entire time, like, he's sitting there quiet, you know, doing his fishing things. I'm over here going, you motherfucker! He took my fucking bait again! Baby! Like, I'm screaming at this dock, and there's people, nobody's talking, everybody's quiet when they fish. You brought my dumb ass to the dock, and I'm over here going, fuck these stupid fish! I can't catch shit!
That would have been actually really entertaining. Me personally, at least because I also like to people watch, so that's just but
Dude,
if
I gave
saw
up.
a random person I didn't know doing that on the other side of the dock, I would have been trying my hardest not to laugh.
I've never like beefed so much that I'm like, we can go again, right? And he's like, you want to go fishing again? I'm like, yeah, I want to go fishing again. You get the big guys. I got a date with these bait fish because I have a fucking beef to settle. Like, that's all I'm going for. Give me the smaller rod. Give me the smaller hook. I'm catching them. I'm going good on my word.
Oh man, that's
Oh, my
funny.
Lord. But like, that's the thing is people think that we don't leave the house. And it's like, no, we do. But they take the childish thing and they're like, that's all you do. Yeah, that's weird that you do that as an adult. And it's like, well, I'm only 24, so I can't really say I'm, like, old. But, like, also, you can bet your sweet bippy I will be 80 playing games. If Marvel Rivals
Me
exist
too!
when I'm
Oh my
80,
word.
you're gonna have grandma on the mic. Like...
Dude, I aspire to be like that grandma who plays COD and streams.
Oh my god,
like,
yeah!
I aspire to be her and everything. Oh man,
I want to smoke the younger generation.
One of the reasons why. It's one of the reasons why I have like an on-running joke with like my community and everything about being a granny. Even though I'm not. It's probably because I will end up like that. Oh man.
There's a sweet anticipation of the end goal. Don't take up people's free time because you decided to pop out a crotch goblin. We're gonna be old and playing video games, and it's gonna be awesome. Oh my lord.
We'll be amazing grandmas and grannies.
Dude, we should hear me out.
Fun.
Once we're all like old and wrinkly, we have to like we need to set like an age for it. Maybe like 60, 70. We make a VTuber group. But it's only for grandmas.
The grannies, the grandmas. Dude, please.
Like Golden Girls, but it's all VTubers.
Yes! Oh my gosh, maybe it's just like the Golden Tubers instead.
Oh my god. I'm so down.
Dude, guys, mark that down. When we hit 80 or 70 or something like that, please bring us back. If we forget because we're too old to remember,
if dementia hits, you gotta remember us.
Oh man, I'll be like, write that down in a notebook. If you ever have dementia, remember.
Imagine that being like
If
a
you
time
turn
capsule
80 or
in
70,
history.
Dude, please. I love it when unserious things like that are like. Ay.
I want to be a granny tuber. That'd be fucking
need to make that
awesome. Make the model old. Make the wrinkles flap with physics. Oh, I'll be so happy.
Dude, that's so funny. I'm
Give
literally
it
working
bingo
on a
wings.
redeem for my model right now for a granny redeems. That's what's so funny about this is I'm already working on that, and I'm not even 70.
Oh my god. Yo, I'm gonna pull up in VR chat and get an Abby that has bingo wings. I swear to god, I'm gonna sit there being like, yeah, Shunny.
Dude,
Look at these.
If you find a granny model that's like actually genuinely good, please let me know.
Oh, I got you.
You guys didn't hear that. You guys didn't hear that, okay? No spoilers.
I'm gonna be lurking now. I'm gonna find one. Holy shit. Well, listen, I know this was like a weird episode. We didn't get too many stories
long rabbit holes.
But you know what? We love our
Hey, that's
long
what happens
rabbit
when you get
holes.
pets.
It's always because of pets. Blame the pets. They make us crazy people. All right? Don't fuck with pet people. They're psychotic. But listen,
Never
y'all.
get in between someone and their pet.
No, for real. I told my fiance day one, because I knew he wasn't the biggest dog person, when we like first started talking, that I was like, hey, if you don't like dogs to like this extreme point, leave me now, because I'll choose her. I'm not ever getting rid of my dog unless she bites you. She's not going anywhere.
You should never change something like that for someone else either. Like there's certain things you talk about before like fully starting a relationship, and pets has to be one of them, because it's like, for me, I love my cat. I love animals. If you want me to get rid of my animals, you got a problem.
I'll say, like,
they're family.
They are. They're our little babies. I can't say thankfully. My dog annoys the hell out of him, but I know he loves her, and he's also such a big pet person that we can't go to pet stores because
He'll buy it.
Yeah, there was one time.
The man wants a fucking leopard or whatever.
Yeah, he wants a big cat. He wants like a leopard. But we
You
went
sound
to.
like you're about to fall asleep.
We had to get Nelly flea meds because she was
up
not
since
prepared for
7:30.
fleas. You need a nap.
I need
But
a fucking life. That's what
that
I
is
need.
also fair. Same. But we were getting her flea medication, and so like I'm looking at the aisles, I'm reading bottles, making sure like what I put on her is not gonna, kill her, hurt her skin, lose her fur, whatever, right? Like I'm trying so
Yeah.
hard to watch everything. And I look up, he's nowhere to be found, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like I need this one, need this one. I found what I need. Can't find my husband. What is he doing? Filling out paperwork.
No.
And I was like, what the?
No.
What you doing, babe? And he was like, I want that one. And he points to a cage with a kitten in it. And I said, okay. Do you didn't want to like talk
No,
about
because that
it?
combo would be so deadly with me, because I'm that person. I have to be the person who has the other half who's like, no, we can't get that. No, come back.
Dude, it was so bad. And like we're sitting there. And what's worse is I tried for like 2 seconds. I was like, we don't need it. And then I walked away. Because I was like, you know what? I know I'm not going to stop him. Because I also want an army of cats. The only thing that stopped us from getting a cat that day is they were like, hey, to take this cat home, like it was like a $40 adoption fee. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they were like, okay, also, you need to buy like this $50, $60 crate just to transport home. And that's when he put the paperwork down. He was like, never mind. And I was like, no fucking way. We almost took a cat home.
I don't know what your pet stores are like, but ours tend to be like, there's a lot of requirements it takes to even just not like apply, but like to go and like even check to see if you want this animal and whatever. There's a lot that goes through it, which is really surprising. I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to prevent bad owners from taking them, but oh man.
I think it varies from
At
like
least with our
place
pet
to
stores.
place, because I've seen other places
probably
that are like,
does.
hey, there's a process. This place was like, hey, if you buy a crate, it can come home with you right now.
Yeah, like ours would have to be like an application. You have to be checked. This, and that. What's your history? Can we have an interview? I had that happen where they're like, I was like, oh, this cat's so cute. I want them so bad. And then they're like, can we like what's your house like? What's your address? We need your address. To see what they needed my address to check like what type of property you're living on. I'm like, it's a cat, bro.
Yeah,
are you address checking everybody? Like,
pulling up
what's
Google
your
Maps.
lifestyle like? What's your house? What's your room? Like, is there cameras? What are we doing here?
The birds are watching. Dude, it's bad. We can't go to pet stores because he'll fill out the forms and I won't stop him. But then like we'll walk in there and I'll be looking at like snakes or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And he'll go, do you want it? And I'm like, stop. Don't put that in the air because you know the answer is yes, but I have to be the adult. We have 4 cats and we have my dogs. We can't have any reptiles because we have cats. We can't have any birds because we have cats. Like, I want all of them.
You would love to see my family.
Oh, it's
we
so
have
bad.
a bunny.
Get a ferret.
We used to have a snake.
They stink.
We have multiple cats, multiple dogs, chickens. Used to have ducks. Like the list goes on. And the bunnies came from rescuing. Believe it or not.
I have an aunt that has 2 tortoises, about 10 peacocks, 2 turkeys,
10 peacocks, dang.
And a bird that cusses at you.
I forgot Shells has a bird, but that one doesn't cuss. At least ours doesn't. But they're very non-friendly to new people.
She's like the weird aunt.
Pet bird. Her parents have a cockatoo. His name is Bob, and he laughs if you get yelled at. And he mocks you.
Does
Oh
he
my
really,
God.
dude?
Yeah, he's
Birds
a
are
dick.
menaces.
They'll mimic.
menaces.
Like my aunt's
yeah.
bird, she gives them coffee. So this bird in the morning will go coffee, 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 high pitched as fuck until you give him
Really?
coffee. Don't know why she does that, but then he learned how to mimic her husband. And the key phrase being when he's pissed off, her name is Jerry. So you'd hear, "God damn it, Jerry!" He learned to mimic that. And at random periods of the day, in perfect like mimicry, you would hear, "God damn it, Jerry!" And she'd peek the corner, and it's just the fucking bird. Ain't no one yelling, ain't no one mad. It's just the bird spewing his shit. And then her peacocks were not
so
in enclosures. So like they're on her roof, they're in the driveway, they're in the backyard, they're in the shed. Like how they got on the roof, no fucking idea. I learned that peacocks can jump really fucking high.
Oh,
Which is
they
terrifying.
Can. Yeah.
The
We used to have
tortoises
a peacock
she
in
just
the
like
neighborhood.
found. Like she never bought them. She literally will tell you that she just found them. The turkeys were wild. They were wild turkeys that she just eventually went, "You're mine now," and gave them
need to
food,
meet
and they
this
kept
lady.
coming around. And she has like 5 dogs, if I remember correctly. I remember there were dogs, and like she just had like a little zoo in her backyard. We would go over to her house just to pick up peacock feathers and like make pens out of them.
That's epic. Oh my gosh. I want to meet her so badly. I need to see this
Crazy
zoo.
shit. Our family's had weird critters, but I also grew up on a ranch, so you know, like
Yeah, it comes with the lifestyle, to be honest, at this rate. Because most of your animals end up being like rescued, or like in our case, most of our chickens are hatched on their own because we have broody hens who run off and like you can't find them because they've hid themselves and they come back with chicks later. So,
dude, I came home with chickens one day. I didn't tell my mom that my ag class had us like hatching chickens. We were only supposed to get 1, right? The school didn't notify any parents about this. And so obviously multiple students couldn't take the birds home. Yeah, no, nobody said anything. Students didn't tell parents, school didn't tell parents. So like these chickens hatch, there's easily 80 chicks that now have no homes, and multiple people obviously couldn't take them home. I already knew I was taking mine home.
That's really poor planning.
I literally sat there one day at like the end of school, and she was like, "We still have so many," and I was like, "I'll take 4." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I'll take 4. I'll figure it out. I don't know." And I literally got on the school bus with a cardboard box full of baby chickens, went home, and came home, and I went, "Hey, Mom, we have chickens." And she was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, by the way, for like the past couple months in ag class, we've been raising eggs. They hatched, and we can take them home now." And she was like, who gave you the okay with that?
That's so bizarre that the school wouldn't say anything about that. At least on the school's behalf, they should have had a plan that, like, if these chicks can't be taken home, they have someone to go back to. Also, don't mind my body.
No, you're chilling.
Apparently we've been talking long enough about animals that my body's died.
That, that's valid. Your body's dying. Her body's dying. I need to quit yapping. But end all be all is we had 4 chickens for a couple of years, and I loved them, and my dad was forced to build a chicken coop. I took them camping with me because they were too small to be like left in the yard because they could get through our fence. And we were going camping that weekend. I literally, in our trailer, they sat in the bathtub for the whole weekend, and then I would take them out, bring them to the grass, and they imprinted on me, so they would follow me around. I would just let them loose in the grass wherever we were camping, and like people would watch me like walk these chickens, and they're like, "Oh, there goes the weird fucking teenager with 4 chickens for some reason out in the middle of nowhere."
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
And then I was a menace on Omegle because of it, because this was glamping. We had Wi-Fi. And Omegle was very
using
prevalent.
the chicks on Omegle?
Oh, yes, I was. And I had my friend with me. Hi, Mom, Dad, if you guys are watching this, I'm not that stupid anymore, but this was a thing I did, and I still think it's really funny, and you should give me props for being a smartass. We were on Omegle, and it came up to a guy who was, like, trying to hit on us. We were obviously minors. We were, like, 14. I'm probably, like, 15 if it was high school, but regardless, minors. And I sat there, and I was like, do you want to see some hot chicks? And the guy, you know, it's Omegle. He was like, oh, yeah, I want to see. And I was like, okay, let me go change into something more comfortable. And I would turn my camera off, go and get the chickens, put a hoodie on, and I would just have this plethora of chickens in my arm, and I turned my camera back on.
You did change into something more comfortable.
He saw hot chicks.
You did have chicks. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I love that so much.
My parents raised an internet troll.
How old were you? Were you like...
I was like 15.
I love that you came up with that at that age. Like, just really bringing out chicks in a hoodie.
I was like, fuck it, I've heard, like, the line in rom-com movies of, let me change into something more comfortable. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grab a hoodie, and I'm gonna do a play on words, and these chickens are hot chicks because they've been in the sun all day. Look!
I want to know their reaction. What was their reaction?
So fast.
Were they pissed off? They skipped. I guarantee they skipped, or it was, like, pissed off.
Like, the second I turned the camera
so
back
ready.
on, and he saw chickens... You know how, like, that skip button's just, like, a click?
Yeah.
It was almost instantaneous. The camera came on and his camera went away.
Gosh. Dude, someone who, like, actually still doesn't Omegle, whatever, I can't pronounce it properly. Omegle, that thing. Bagel, either way. Someone should actually do that themselves and record the bits that come from that.
I need to get my hands on some chickens again. I will do it again.
Do it again, record it this time.
Just get me an inflatable chicken costume.
Change into something more comfortable, comes back out, just standing there menacingly.
Like, I will get an inflatable chicken costume with some fucking stilettos and just walk out and be like, Baka.
No, the stilettos with, like, a bodysuit, like, maybe some fishnets over it. Baka. You like turn on the camera.
Just start screeching like cock-a-doodle-doo at like the top of my lungs.
Yeah,
oh my god.
That's great.
Alright, listen y'all, we've been yapping too long. We got people dying over here. I do want to say hi, hello if you are new. This podcast is on Twitch every week. It will be up onto YouTube and Spotify come Monday. So, hi, you can subscribe. You can come and join in on the conversation. I do come back and see the chat. I see that Germany has fallen and has been renamed to Squishy Land. That was high chaos.
Hi, chaos.
So that is the thing that we do. The links will all be linked. We are still within Charity Stream Month, so if you guys have time to come by, come drop a like, do whatever. If you are able to, I will highly encourage the donation. It all goes to the Lupus Research Foundation to hopefully find a cure, because, hey, it sucks to have it, and I miss bread. I would like a cure, please. So there's that. And then I also want to give another big thanks to Kraka for taking the time today to be able to come out here, and y'all can go and support her and all of her craziness.
Sorry, not me looking for the hi, whoops.
All of her links will be linked where the links link, and you guys can give her the love and check out when she's got her streaming stuff. Duckathon, is that what it was called?
That will be
Subathon?
coming up. Yeah, it's not fully has a date on it, but it will be a thing soon. The Duckathon.
So y'all can keep an eye out for that, and you guys can keep an eye out on some other shit that I know about that you guys don't know about yet. And it's gonna be really cool, so you should go and check it out. And I'll have that linked. But with that, we will see all of you guys next week. Bye-bye!
Bye.